It's a Conspiracy is a proud member of the Alberta Podcast Network, locally grown and community supported. For other fun programming, please check out albertapodcastnetwork.com, where you can find shows like Bridging the Gap Between Generations Who Assume Things About Each Other.
It's a conspiracy!
I'm gonna take these headphones off and close this door.
What are you taking off?
His pants.
Put your pants back on.
Hey, you were supposed to look.
We're recording now. Pants off.
Door is a euphemism.
Pants off. It gets sweaty in here when the door's closed. Hey guys.
Hey
I
guys.
feel like we haven't done all three of us together in a minute.
Missed you too, buddy. We missed you last weekend. We'll talk about that. But the wonder, the voyage. Okay, before my computer shuts off, let's do this.
Let's get into it.
So this is season 4, episode 18, The Boy Who Would Be Tarrying King, part 2.
Hold on a second.
Oh,
is that the actual episode? I thought it was 17. It's just loading the page.
Yeah, Naomi and I did the last one, and I thought I called that one 17.
Oh, no, you're right. 17, The Sphinx, 8 fun facts about Da Vinci. You are right. My apologies. Please continue.
I accept your apology. Thank you. Welcome back, everyone, to It's a Conspiracy. This is the podcast where we lay out the beliefs behind selected conspiracy theories, alternative accounts, legends, myths, and more. I'm your host, Andrew, and I do not claim to be an expert on anything we're going to discuss today, and will probably be wrong about everything for 2 reasons. Because the computer that I'm using, once again, I don't know if it's just a curse thing with me, like I wronged someone in a previous life, but my computer again is having problems. Lord Charlie's been very nice about it, walking me through things here. Did you try turning it on and off?
Yeah, man, it's because you got those magnets implanted.
I should take those off the screen.
Yeah.
But also the other reason, and the more important reason reason is because the weather has been absolutely bloody gobsmacking good. Right?
Yeah,
Have you guys
super
been
blowy.
outside? It's
It's
real
been
windy
beautiful.
today, but yesterday.
Yesterday from like noon to 6 o'clock was like the best weather I've experienced in like 9 months.
Why don't we live somewhere where it's like that all the time? Like there are places like that. That's not an imaginary thing, like all the time.
That's the thing about living somewhere, is that sometimes you never really realize that like you can just leave.
Don't say that.
like
There's
you
so
can
many
just,
people that are just, I'm out of here. Fuck you
Yeah.
guys.
you can just like
Never
not
mind.
live there
I'm
anymore.
out.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sycamore.
I actually, the weird thing though is that my snow, it's been retreating like a valiant effort against the invading force of the sun, and underneath that snow is a staggering amount of puppy poop. Now, I don't have a puppy, so I don't know where it all came from, but there is a
You
whole
sure it's
lot
not
of
from
lot
your
of
little
puppy.
ones running around out
I was gonna
there?
say, did you just like
They-
shove your kids outside for a few hours every day? And
They usually use the bathroom,
Usually.
so I will talk to them about that. Yeah.
Mostly.
Most of the time, not the best of us, I'm not the odd accident from time to time. It's okay.
hey, man, I was 10 years old at one time. I know that.
You were 10 years old in 2014.
I can't believe that you actually have a date that you remember.
Oh, yeah.
this by. 2004.
Commit to the bit, my friend.
That's right. Now, as always, if you'd like to see which of our salty lug nuts are going to be enjoyed by us today, then please check out the episode description. Charlie plants those seeds in his garden in hopes that they will blossom into orchids of joy. You can smell them and laugh with delight with your heart. And isn't that nice? Springtime. And we are a member of the Alberta Podcast Network. Yay team, yay friends, yay squad. They're really nice people. I comment on their patience quite a bit. Once again, last month, I'm like, these deadlines are like, it's okay, you guys.
You're doing the best you can.
They're very supportive.
Y'all ain't getting any
That's
younger.
Now, joining the online distance communication time today is charming Lord Charlie and gorgeous Lord Greg. These delightful slices of provolone will interject as they see fit, and I do so appreciate their socially distanced company. We haven't done this together in a while now.
In a minute.
Why do you pick the loneliest cheese?
The loneliest cheese.
Provolone?
Oh, man.
Provolone.
I never thought about it.
I'm not
Provolone.
lonely.
Yeah. No. That was not
I
meant to
miss
be
you
a lonely
guys, but
thing.
I'm not lonely.
Yeah. Provolone on my own. Well, let's do this.
Get into it.
Oh, I forgot. Okay. You can check us out at itsconspiracypodcast.com. Our Twitter at Is It a Conspiracy? That's run by the social media influencer, the Irish Madman, who was in Edmonton.
He was.
Charlie met him.
I did.
And Greg didn't meet him.
Well,
Greg
because
just brushed him off.
I did not brush him off.
Brushed
You
him
guys
off.
messaged me at 10:30. I'm a baby now. I go to bed at 9:45 if I can.
Hold on. Objection.
Yeah, I was
Objection.
just gonna say. Yeah,
There were
okay.
messages in the chat, in the Facebook chat, previous to 10 a.m. in the morning, of which
There
you said,
definitely were.
"I'm all here for this." Here.
Absolutely.
Text me when you're at HQ. I can go back and look if you really want to.
Oh, here we
you
go.
guys want to get like this is the conspiracy right here.
Let's not air our dirty laundry on the podcast. But anyway,
Okay. I will say,
the Irish
I
Madman
admit,
was here. It was very nice to meet him.
the
Exists.
conspiracy has been proven that unless he's gone very deep with this and hired a stand-in, Andrew is not the Irish Madman.
Yeah.
Can confirm.
Thank you.
Can confirm. Had been able to confirm for quite a while. Because Andrew is just not that funny on Twitter.
No, and I can barely use a computer. Like those two things right there. He's funnier than I am, and he can computer. I cannot computer.
Cannot compute.
All right, so Charlie, can you tell me if you are familiar with these three things here? Number one, is Casper the ghost a ghost with the most ghost?
A ghost with the most ghosts. Is he Beetlejuice? No, I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, all right. Number two, a moment of Greg with Greg.
No idea.
Okay, number three.
I got a title for that if you want. Is Jessica Fletcher a serial killer?
No, I don't know.
Synchronicity, because guess who wrote about Jessica Fletcher and his?
Oh, shit.
Damn.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Okay.
like we've been doing this for 5 or 6 years.
And number three, that time Phil Collins saw the murders.
I would just like to point out before we get started that this is another tick in the favor of simulation theory.
Okay.
I don't know, man.
I've been building a list.
I've been watching a
Building
lot
my
of The
case.
Matrix lately, and
Yeah, this is amazing. All right, so
Amazing.
subject number one is Casper the ghost, a ghost with the most ghosts. All right, so Casper the friendly ghost and Richie Rich, fun, friendly characters living side by side in a magical world of make-believe. Or are they? Now, there is a startlingly dark theory that connects those two in a beautiful way.
I miss that.
I've been away for far too long. That was not that funny.
Now, the two are the cornerstones of Harvey Comics, and a lingering fan theory for decades now has suggested that Richie Rich died in his timeline, and he reappeared as the ghastly Casper, the friendly ghost. This obviously gives Casper a bit of a sadder tone, albeit the foundation of his existence is that he's a dead child. So, but what would have resulted in Richie's demise and eventual return from the shadow realm is what this theory is really all about here. Okay, now Richie Rich first appeared 1953, and basically the whole gag is that he's the richest person on the planet, and he has absolutely no adult supervision. So, like, what could go wrong? How, right? Like, let's just give him all the money and none of the supervision. The character has come in and out of popularity, but various incarnations have seen him in books and toys. I had a little lunchbox myself when I was a kid, and a movie with Macaulay Culkin and the guy from Night Court, and even a few Netflix series. Have you guys read or seen or loved Richie Rich?
I remember the old school comics for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I've watched the Macaulay Culkin movie like plus 50 times.
Really? Okay,
Wow.
so you're well versed.
I forgot the guy was in Night Court though. Thanks for the reminder.
Yeah, totally, man. He was Night Court. Him and Bull. That was I love that show.
It was the judge. Who was it? Was it the judge Harry?
No, it was the lawyer, like the
Oh yeah.
We don't know his names or actors or anything.
Yeah, we didn't do any
Just look it up
research
as we go.
before this show. No, for sure not.
Yeah.
John something.
Now, Casper the Friendly Ghost, he was picked up as an animation character, and the ghastly ghoul quickly became quite popular in a number of mediums. Like the Joker, he has an ever-changing backstory and a very lighthearted approach to life. Once again, Nooks, toys, books, and the inevitable nostalgia project of a live action movie right around the same time as Richie Rich. Do you guys remember? I think it was just called Casper. Have you guys seen this?
Yeah, with the president from Independence Day. Bill something.
You guys are so good at this.
It's either Bill Paxton or Bill Pullman. I can never remember.
Bill Pullman.
Is it Bill Pullman? Okay.
While we're saying names, was our first name John Larroquette?
That sounds right.
That's unfair of you to just look that up while we're not paying.
I did not look that up. I said it was
up.
John something, but then
I can see it in the reflection of your glasses.
There's nothing in the reflection of my glasses.
Just the beautiful stare of John Larroquette.
Now, for years, people have noticed similarities between the two. So Richie Rich and Casper the Friendly Ghost, they both have kind of similar bulbous heads. Both of their bodies look like sort of like hot water bottles. They have those tiny T-Rex arms, shrill voices, and just a frustratingly optimistic outlook on everything. So it's like, all right, okay. Now, so these similarities are between the two, but things have taken a turn when The Simpsons, of all people, suggested why this might be. Okay, now I don't know if you guys have seen this. There's an episode where I think it's called 3 Men in a Comic Book. It might be where Bart and Milhouse and their other friend buy like Radioactive Man #1 and like it's incredible. Anyways, at one point, Bart and Lisa are discussing how similar the two are, Richie Rich and Casper the Friendly Ghost. And they eventually end up pondering on how this came to be. Lisa theorizes that perhaps he realized how hollow the pursuit of money really is and took his own life. Wow. That's what Lisa says.
Hold on, I've got something for this.
Oh, you got yeah, no shit.
And this is when Marge, like they're in the back of the car, Marge turns around and she's like, "Kids, can you guys lighten up a little?" And I'm like, that is so funny.
Just a wee bit.
Yeah, it a little dark. That's right. Now, this theory lingered for years, and it took on a whole new life a couple years ago, thanks to the internets, when author Charles Pulliam suggested that perhaps Rich's parents had him murdered in order to cash in on his riches.
Oh my God.
So this was a fortune that they had been unable to access while he was alive. So they orchestrated the whole thing. Never mind. These are the people that named him Richie Rich. Like it's enough that he's got the money, right? Like you,
It kind of sounds like he had the last name to begin with.
I was going to say, you didn't pick the last name.
Well, but they didn't have to call him Richie, right? Like that's a little bit on the nose. He was
born of Larry
Richard
and Martha Rich.
His name
Ted
was
Nanette Rich.
He had the riches.
Like, it's not like they could call him Dick Rich.
Rich.
That just sounds so bad. Hey man, that guy's Dick Rich.
Although I'm sure there's a porn based off of that.
There has to be, because and let's never speak of that again.
Not,
that's a horrible
we
thing
spoke
to
about
say.
it first and
That's right.
cash it on it later.
As we all know, ghosts only come back for unfinished business. So, or as suggested by Charlie's favorite sports movie, Angels in the Outfield, sometime ghosts come back to help sports teams from time to time. The movie we watched last night for our Friday night movie, actually, I'm not kidding, the ghost of Bruce Lee showed up and helped a street vigilante get justice. It was amazing.
Wow.
Were there lots of splits and high fives?
It was an early Jean-Claude Van Damme movie. There's a scene when he's about to begin the fight and he's on like the third rope of the wrestling ring and he jumps off, like he's in the splits and he jumps off and lands and starts like throwing fists. It was amazing. Now it's important to mention out that Richie Rich was essentially a slave owner and committed a number of atrocities, including having his own dog coated in solid gold. So, again, endless riches with no adult supervision that really only ends in chaos and mayhem. Personally, if he is a tortured wraith, just kind of living in limbo, then I think it serves him right. Eat the rich. You know what I'm saying? Come on. Hey?
No wonder he looks like a hot water bottle.
So that's is Casper the ghost with the most ghosts.
Boo.
Ooh.
Now, Charlie, speaking of boo, what are we
What are we drinking? Booze. No. Is that what you want?
I do appreciate that. Thank you.
What are we drinking? Well, I'll tell you what I'm drinking. I'm drinking an old favorite. I'm drinking Tiger Sharp by Phillips. Showcasing one of our favorite hop varietals, this Citra-focused beer is a pale ale reimagined. Bred to attack the palate, Tiger Shark is a tropical alpha beast packed with juicy passion fruit and Citra flavor without the bitter bite. Pours a slightly hazy golden straw color with a clean pillow white head. Tiger Shark, I love it. Get it in me.
Num num num.
It's a Phillips, isn't it?
Phillips by Phillips Brewing Co.
I do love. I had last night. There's a new place here in Beaumont, and they have Phillips on tap. They have the Dino Sour and Blue Buck, and I was like,
Blue Buck's
oh,
good. Heck yeah.
Yep.
Oh, and might I add that I am also drinking it out of my It's a Conspiracy mug, available at oldmandesign.com. We'll get you sorted.
I'll go ahead and go second here.
Andy, what are you drinking?
The other day, I tried a new. It's not new in Edmonton, but it was my first time being there. It's called Situation Brewing,
I'm familiar.
It was absolutely fantastic. So
Well, he wasn't joking. He was going to share.
yeah, I'm sharing because sharing is catting. Now this is giving it away a little bit, but the beer that I had, I was like, that name, you've got me right there. I know, right? So I walk in and there's this huge sign that says Sex Palace Imperial Stout, and I'm like, whatever that is,
Sign me up.
I'll have. Let's go. Line them up. I'll knock them down. And I was drinking it. I was like, oh my, this is a tasty beverage. And the guy's like, yeah, and it's only 10.3%. I'm like, what? So I'm well into this at the time. And I'm like, I'll have one beer. I'll be fine. So Uncle Dad here had to have himself 2 cups of coffee and wait for about an hour and a half after that 1 pint. Because
10.3%.
Yeah, it was.
Damn. It's a slap in the face, man.
It was a
worth,
muscle
yeah.
man, but wonderful. So good. And the name, a little bit on the blue side, but also was like, that's the name that fits for this. This salaciously dark beer hits you with an intense sweetness while ensuring you have a nice, smooth finish. It did not feel like a 10.3%. Sometimes those beers really feel like you're drinking something that should be like used to run a vehicle. But this was like smooth, and I could feel it, but it didn't feel overly alcohol-y.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Situation Brewing, good stuff.
Yum.
All right, Greg. Well, what are we drinking?
Well, I'm not drinking anything right now because I do have to, go to work and be a responsible adult. Unlike some
You don't need
fathers
to
I
know
around
that.
here. My birthday was about a week ago, and a very significant person in my life ended up getting me a very, very nice bottle of bourbon out of Chicago, and it is called Koval. 51% corn, 49% millet, which makes it a very rare type of bourbon. Very, very bitey, if you guys understand what I'm saying. You take a sip, it bites back. Very nice hints of like vanilla and coffee. I recommend it if you're there and you just want a nice, very sipping whiskey or bourbon and not intending to take it much further than that. It is beautiful. It also hits in at a very high 49.5% alcohol, which I did not know you could get here in the beautiful province of Alberta.
Yeah.
So good to them. And, hopefully go to Chicago sometime. Check it out. And if you're in Chicago, drink more of it.
Yeah, get it. Y'all making me feel like a lightweight over here.
Oh,
I was a lightweight. I had like one of those and I'm like, damn, boy.
Good night.
while we're on the subject of Chicago, have you guys ever had an actual Chicago deep dish pizza? Like a birthday cake kind of pizza?
No, I've never actually been to
from
Chicago.
Joe's here in Edmonton.
Yeah, like I got
Like
a buddy
a real
from
one?
Chicago. Yeah, and I was like, "Is this the kind of pizza they have?" And I sent him a picture of it. And he's like, "Don't even." He sent me a picture from like a place in Chicago, and I couldn't. Like it looked like a birthday cake, but it was pizza. And I was like, "How could anyone eat that?" And he's like, "Well, you know,
Welcome to America, son.
yeah, you find a way." Well, that's going to take us to advertisement numero uno.
With Pod Power, our sponsors are making it possible for us to amplify the voices of Albertans and Alberta podcasters. This episode, Edmonton Community Foundation is helping us give a Pod Power shout out to Is This For Real? Is This For Real is a podcast about various facets of Black life in Edmonton. In the first season of the show, Breaking the Blue Wall, host Omar Salafu explore anti-Black racism and policing and tell stories about policing in schools, accountability in Alberta's policing system, and the impact of police violence on Black Edmontonians. You can listen to the podcast and read more about each episode at isthisforreal.ca. You can also support the work of these podcasters and future seasons on Patreon.
are back with subject number 2. It's a moment of Greg with gorgeous Greg.
Moments of Greg.
Jessica Fletcher is a serial killer, and we all know this because we all watch Murder, She Wrote.
Mhm.
And if you don't, I recommend checking it out. But here we go. Murder, She Wrote is an interesting watch on its own. One Reddit user suggests that the series is a lot more fun when you approach it from the unique angle. This user recommended viewing the series as if Lansbury's character, Jessica, is always the murderer. They theorize that her amateur investigation is her way of keeping the cops off her back. The theory suggests that Jessica is not just a best-selling author, but also an efficient and rather successful serial killer. Fans aren't the only ones who think Jessica Fletcher might have been a serial killer as well. Craig Ferguson announced this on his late-night TV show back in 2008 and went into quite detail as to why he thinks that she might be the serial killer that everybody is looking for. While the theory is a bit far-fetched, there is some circumstantial evidence to support this. Fans point out that Jessica was I can't even say this word, and I wrote
Tangentially?
Yeah, that one. How did you know?
That's it.
Tangentially connected to an awful lot of death and destruction. It seems unlikely that one mystery writer living in a small and sleepy coastal town of Maine would have a connection to so many murder cases. It seems equally unlikely that a rural town in Maine would have so many unconnected murders. The Telegraph, blah, 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 like I said, does not give me any history that I did not look up and will never do because it's a conspiracy. Points out that the Cabot Cave would have the highest murder rate per capita if it were an actual real place. Either the residents were all homicidal or one person was responsible for the bulk of the death in the town. Why couldn't it be Jessica? Fans also note that Jessica's slow move away from Cabot Cove indicates that the authorities were catching on as to what her actions were. At the start of the series, Jessica spent all of her time in Cabot Cave and town she adored. By the end of the series, Jessica traveled a fair bit and spent less and less time in the area. Fans of the series theorized that things were heating up and that authorities were onto Jessica, so she just kept on moving away. A lot of fans also point out that she may have a relationship to the serial killer on the TV show Dexter. While it's certainly an interesting theory, Jessica probably wasn't a serial killer like Dexter. Her backstory doesn't match Dexter's at the very least. Fans also note that her job wouldn't have given her the knowledge base to get away with so many killings. Dexter's background in forensic science ensured he knew exactly what to do to avoid detection, while a mystery writer, Jessica didn't seem to have a ton of knowledge on how criminals actually got caught. That, however, might be why she left the bodies to be found. One could argue that instead of avoiding detection by making the killings clean and disposing of the bodies, like Dexter, Jessica relied on her skill set to avoid getting caught. She was a creative writer who was able to spin a good story. Could she have used her creative writing skills to railroad an innocent people into admitting to a murder she herself committed? It seems very possible. That, ladies and gentlemen, Jessica Fletcher is a serial killer.
Beautiful.
That is. Quick shout out to Kyle from Kyle and Dave versus the Machine. He has a real soft spot in his heart for Angela Lansbury.
Probably
And
because he knows what's going on.
I think he's in on the secret. Yeah. That is going to take us to advertisement numero 2.
This episode of It's a Conspiracy is brought to you by the Northwest Fest International Documentary Festival, running in cinema from May 6th to the 14th and online from May 5th to the 15th. NWF is thrilled to finally be able to bring the festival back to Metro Cinema this year with an outstanding lineup of some of the year's best docs and a few fun surprises. This year's festival is a hybrid affair with over 20 films screening at Metro Cinema, including the acclaimed Nick Cave music doc, This Much I Know to Be True, along with dozens of feature and short films screening online. Award-winning filmmaker Alexandre O. Felipe will also be in town to present his filmmaking masterclass. This event will be open to the public and is an absolute must for anyone who's ever dreamed of making their own film. Check out the full Northwest Fest film lineup and purchase all access passes or single tickets at northwestfest.ca.
All right, now we are back. Subject 3. That time Phil Collins saw a murder. Okay, now, if you guys will indulge me here, there are 2 windmills. They're in a field enjoying a lovely spring day. One asks the other, "What's your favorite kind of music?" And the other windmill replies, "I'm a big metal fan." Yeah, I know. Thank you, Charlie. You had that ready to go.
As soon as the joke starts, you just get ready for it.
It makes the punchline so much better.
Now, the internet, it's always just a laugh ready to go and an endless stream of positive support in a very open-minded forum for all sorts of subjects where people are getting along and respecting each other's differences. Fantastic.
Hey, what internet do you use, by the way?
Oh, is that not the same internet you use if you had a...
Can I have the address for that internet?
So before the internet, there were rumors at this time. It's hard to remember before the internet, but there was the before times. And this is a rumor from the before times. Now, I should point out that the classic song that we're going to talk about here is basically the theme song for Mike Tyson's Fists. Okay. Have you guys heard the classic In the Air Tonight?
Of course.
Okay. You guys know what I'm talking about with Mike Tyson then?
Well, unless you're talking about him knocking out Zach Galifianakis. Then
I'm talking about him knocking out Zach Galifianakis. Like, I can't hear that song without him popping into my head, just punching him out.
He still got it, baby.
So there's a theory pre-internet, the before times, that In the Air Tonight is actually about an attempted murder or maybe a real murder or like a boating incident gone wrong. So somebody better call Angela Lansbury because there's bloody murders afoot. Oh, yeah. Now, Phil Collins claims that he put the song together as an instrumental and he was trying to sort out the mood of the piece when he began to improvise the lyrics. The end result is essentially the vocal part he improvised on the spot, and he insists that both the words and the melodies just came to me in a moment of what can only be described as artistic geniusery. And he was going through a divorce at the time. He claims the song was about his divorce. So yeah, rough Phil. His real goal was something with the song, something outside of the musical complications of Genesis, his previous band. And he really didn't realize when he was recording this and releasing the song that he was in the middle of creating a legend. Now, when asked about what the song was about, he stated, well, obviously having my wife leave me and losing my two little ones, there was anger, bitterness, and hurt. Those emotions are in the song, but in an abstract way. I've no idea what coming in the air tonight means, apart from an impending darkness, possibly. Now, that's a very metal explanation, I find. Impending darkness. However, there's the real theory here. The real story is something that maybe Collins is trying to keep a secret. Supporters of this pre-internet story claim that Collins is in fact talking about that time he was at the beach and he saw someone way out in the water drowning and he was helpless to save them. Collins, struck by panic, did not know what to do, so he simply fled the scene. Later on, it turned out that the person survived the accident, recognized Collins. It was like, that guy on the beach, that was Phil Collins. He left me to die. And he began following him to a number of performances. Once, sitting in the front row, Collins was in the middle of singing In the Air Tonight, and he's like, that's that bloody guy who was in the water. And he immediately began to sing the song to him while instructing the theater crew, somehow with his hands, to shine a spotlight on the person, on the guy's seat. So he's like, spotlight. Collins, of course, claims that this is all a bunch of dog bollocks. Now, there is another theory, sort of backpacked onto this, I guess you could say, that Collins actually saw the drowning person and he was too bloody drunk, or maybe he was too bloody stoned to do anything. However, he noticed that someone was in a boat very close to the drowning man and for some salacious reason completely refused to help. So Collins was forced to watch the person drown, and the bystander who could have helped left the scene. Later on, Angela Lansbury style, Collins goes on a detective streak and discovers the bystander's identity, figures out a way to get him free concert tickets. He's invited to the show, has no idea what's happening. At the show, Phil Collins launches into In the Air Tonight. The lighting crew put a spotlight on the guy, the bystander, who had been invited by secret, in front of the entire audience. And while the song is happening, he starts to explain to everyone there what's happened. In the aftermath, the guy's wife divorces him. He's fired. And then, Richie Rich style, he takes his own life. Justice. Collins claims this story is a bunch of bloody cod swallop.
Codswallop?
Is that a direct quote?
That's a bunch of bloody codswallop in it. When asked about the rumor, Collins has said, well, it's wonderful that an urban myth has grown up around it and that people on courses at universities have tried to decipher its meaning. Because I can say, with me hand on me wee heart, that I have no idea what it's about. So he claims the words just came to him. But come on, Phil.
You're not that good of a musician.
Come on, Phil.
Yeah.
You're just a drummer.
Hey, now. The man.
I have never felt so much hate come from a fucking computer screen in my entire life. Right up until
Phil
that
gets
moment.
kicked. He's not just a drummer. Anyway, that's all right. That's all right. That's an opinion. So In the Air Tonight was a huge hit for Phil Collins and essentially establishing him as a solo performer and made him like all of the money. So he was just cashed right in. Once again, just like Love Roller Coaster or the Beatles, the story kind of, you can see why they embrace this because they're like, I'm making all the money. I'm making the money in it. Now, at the same time, though, he has dismissed the story as the ramblings of some scrummy tosspot off to the pub to get blind. But it has become a fine urban legend, even surfacing in songs like Stan by Eminem. And shows like Family Guy, The Simpsons, Murder, She Wrote, and Downtown Abbey, which I always feel like I'm saying wrong because it's Downton Abbey or
Downton. It's not an abbey that's downtown. Have you ever seen that show that if that's downtown, then I don't know what uptown looks like.
I have to stay away from that kind of show. I've never really talked about this, but I know how much I would love it. And if I watch one, I'm going to be like, oh, I got to watch all of this. No, I don't know why.
I saw a trailer for Bridgerton the other day. Oh, no.
Yeah.
I might get stuck into that.
That's what I'm talking about. And then you're collecting spoons and you've got like your nice doily.
Collecting spoons. I just need a justification.
Right then. So anyways, that's what the time that Phil Collins saw all the murders. Yeah. That's going to take us to the opinions time.
Opinion time. Hey, everybody, it's opinion time.
So, Lord, I almost said Lard Charlie. That would be
Lard Charlie.
Lard
chunks.
You're a slim, attractive man. That was yeah. Now, Lord Charlie, what was our first theory? Do you recollect?
Richie Rich, the friendly ghost.
And our second, our moment of Greg was, is Jessica Fletcher actually a serial killer a la Dexter who goes around the countryside killing people?
And you should just shorten that to Murder She Did.
Murder She Did. Yes. That's what that show should have been called too. Murder She Did. Okay, and Greg, do you remember what our third thing was here? And you're going to knock on Phil. I can feel it.
Yeah, I'm not. Phil's a great guy. It is In the Air Tonight actually about a murder. So in the murder tonight.
The murder tonight.
Or also Phil Collins, She Wrote.
There we go.
If we're going with a through line.
Yeah, do you guys have any thoughts? I guess we can start with this the Phil Collins thing. Do you guys think it's possible that he actually saw a murder and wants to keep it a secret?
I mean, here's the thing is the whole story works fine and they're like, well, why didn't he just pop in the water? Well, I mean, it's well known that Phil Collins has a great hunger for hot dogs. So it's likely that he had just eaten and then he saw this shit happening out in the water, and
I got 25 minutes left.
I gotta still wait 25 minutes. I can't get in there.
Absolutely. Yeah. He's like, I'm full. Just call me Full Collins. I'm full of hot dogs. You guys are very nice. That's
that was the funniest thing you said in like 2 years, man. Full Collins.
Oh man.
I just want a t-shirt that says that
now. Yeah, and also like it's gonna sell songs, right? So he's probably gonna embrace it,
man,
and be like, I'm making all kinds of money from this.
You got to lean into the myth.
Yeah.
And not that I'm gonna shit all over Phil Collins, but it's just like no way he had an experience in his life that was that good that he wrote the lyrics to that song. based on a murder.
So I gotta say, with and I mentioned Kyle from Kyle and Dave versus the Machine, but I watched a lot of Murder She Wrote when I was a kid. My mom is a big fan, and have you guys ever seen? I think it's called The Manchurian Candidate, where Angela Lansbury is actually the villain.
Ooh,
And
the old one.
The old one,
With
like Frank
his name?
Sinatra.
Frank Sinatra, yeah.
Yeah, and she has, and then of course there's Beauty and the Beast. She's got a bit of a cruel streak in that as well. So
Yeah.
like her child is this cup with like a damaged cup, and she's like, we'll just call him Chip. It's like you don't need to draw attention to his,
Obviously, his name was Chip before he turned into the cup.
Well, that's it. That's just like, we'll call you Chip, and then we'll see what happens with your life.
Yeah, exactly.
Jumped off the table.
Yeah. Do you guys have any thoughts on Jessica Fletcher being like an out of control homicidal lunatic?
I mean, I think it's funny that there's the Dexter comparison, because that was the first thing that popped through my head, except for the fact that it's the exact opposite, where, like she's trying to, because obviously these people who were murdered weren't killers, right? So it's like it's a reverse Dexter, right? And instead of hiding all the bodies, she's keeping them out in the open, unless it's all a clever ruse to keep away from the bodies that she has murdered.
Oh my.
Ooh.
Maybe it's like, hey, let's, smoke and mirrors, look over here. Don't look over here where the stuff that I did is.
Mm-hmm.
Hence why she continued to move farther and farther away.
That's right. You got to expand your radius.
Her network of murdering just kind of kept
I feel like
growing
we've
and
all
growing.
watched way too many murder shows over the pandemic.
There's no shortage of them. I mean, that's one thing. Like Netflix has no shortage of. I love my wife, but she's like, "Why are you always watching like gross Holocaust documentaries and like sadistic like cold case stuff?" And I'm like,
Makes me sleepy.
it's nice to watch before I go to bed, and there's no shortage of it. It's a little grim, but there's it's there. This one,
I'll be honest, I've never watched an episode of Murder She Wrote in my entire life.
What?
Oh,
I'm sorry for all the people that I shit on, because I was one of those people that did not watch it during the pandemic.
The theme song alone is you need to. Oh, it's incredible. She's riding her bike around. Maybe she was like a contract killer. Like that could have been. That makes a little more sense. Like she was like, got messages and take out this guy.
Yeah, they were delivered by carrier pigeon. She just had to go. She was like,
I'm on my bike.
Yeah, no, I love the theory. Obviously, we know that I love fan theories. That's the Thanos and so on and so forth. This is just like, it's perfect. It's like, yeah, she's an amateur detective writer who's like, yeah, if I can get away with this murder, then I can just write about it and no one will know.
Exactly. You're just doing research, because you're supposed to write what you know.
Right,
Yeah.
what you know, and she's murdering everyone. That makes
Exactly.
sense.
So
Even if she only murders half the people that she's,
claimed.
yeah.
Yeah.
You miss 100% of the murders that you don't commit. Isn't that it?
That's what Wayne Gretzky says.
I thought that was Wayne Gacy.
So yeah, actually, speaking of fan theories, then that's a chance to kind of segue right into this. So, Greg, what do you think about Casper the ghost being the ghost of Richie the ghost, Richie the Rich?
Richie Rich, the ghost of Casper. I don't know. I own a couple of the old Richie Rich comic books, thanks to an old friend of mine. I don't know if I could like totally see it, just because Casper is way too nice to be like, have come back and been like, oh, I was such a bad person. He just genuinely was like this poor kid that died, and like his good forever soul decided to stay on Earth and make us happy.
I mean, if it please the courts, I have some evidence,
Oh,
Charles, yes, please.
came prepared.
which I can share the screen. I literally just Googled this, but this is
No, I cannot see the screen, so we're gonna have to. It'll be
Well,
blind
you can just
reactions from
pretend
you
that
guys.
me and Charlie will
Yeah.
be our.
Ooh,
Okay, well,
I'll give
for
you some
Greg-
sound bites first. Wow. Oh my. Yes, it
That-
does.
You're
There we
not
go.
bad. You're not far off there.
I'm
Mhm.
bringing up a side by side here of Casper and Richie Rich, and it's undeniable.
Wow.
That's pretty. I could see it.
Oh my.
You may. I don't say you want to say you've changed my mind, but I would say his hips are a lot higher than the ghost.
Yes, it does.
Well, things shift when you're not.
I was gonna say, when
you
you're
don't
no
have
longer full of bones
pantsuit, when you don't have a
and
short
whatnot.
suit holding you together, then things
Yeah.
shift a little bit. When
Yeah,
you're not wearing
that's
the
fair.
little rich kid girdle like they do.
Yeah. No, you got me there. Yeah.
Your rich kid later hosen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Charlie
whatever
knows
those
all
might
about
look
that.
So that's my evidence. That's what I would 100% totally believe this one.
Wow. And the best part about fan theories is like, really, like, if you believe it, that's all the evidence you need. Like, and it also like Casper for the ghost is the foundation of it is that he is a child's ghost. Like, I mean, he's somebody's, like, if it's not Richie Rich, it's some other kid, which is really dark when you think about it.
It's still a child, one way or the other.
Yeah, it's darkness.
Which Andrew just finds hilarious.
I don't know why I find that so. I just never really thought about it until we were discussing this. But yeah, no, he's.
So what helps him get to sleep at night?
Andrew, take a quick second and look at the Facebook chat that we have. I dropped
okay.
a photo
Sounds
in there
good.
for you so you can see it.
Oh, look at that! Absolutely.
Right?
Oh my!
How is that not? It's uncanny.
Yes, it does.
Not to be that guy though. That's kind of just like how they reuse a lot of footage.
But this is really like
The bone structure is totally the same.
and he has clearly, yeah, like the hips are a little different, you know, and the hips don't lie. But like, look at the way he's holding his hand. This is like, we use that hand gesture as proof that Keanu Reeves was like an immortal being. So like, they're both really, they've got their hands in the same way. That's all the evidence I need.
There it is.
Done and done. I guess we know. Be nicer to rich kids.
That's right. Well, I mean, what are you going to do? Get haunted by a friendly ghost?
Well, if I am, he still isn't vacuuming or cleaning up after himself. The jerk. How friendly can he be?
And really, you know, covering your dog in gold. Come on, man. Like, don't do that.
That's a little bit dark.
Yeah, it's
That
a
is
little
a
bit more like
Okay,
a
now,
James Bond super
is there
villain.
any evidence whether or not the dog, it was pre or post death?
Oh, maybe the dog died.
Because if
and-
it was just a form of taxidermy,
Then, like, fair game.
it's not so bad. But if it was pre, then I mean, I would hope that the dog looks scared shitless, casting gold.
like I said, it sounds like a James Bond supervillain.
Yeah,
Oh, well, yeah, I think we got to the bottom of that one. I don't know. That's and I think you've just given me an idea for one of our summer specials here. It's probably time we talk about taxidermy. You know, like it's been, and you have an amazing example, which we should not share now.
Loves
we should hold. Yeah, because it is.
keep it in my pocket.
That
I
is.
don't think it'll fit, but okay.
That's a sizzle. Well, ready then, crewmates. Thank you so much for swinging by and bringing the fists and the fury and the Lansbury. We will be back in May for episode 19. Imagine that, May. I'm probably going to start complaining about the heat really soon. And, spoilers on that. But yeah, it gets too hot and I'm just not comfortable. I'm basically comfortable for like about a week, somewhere between March and April.
This
and then
is that week.
Yeah, this is that week, right? And then I'm just belly aching away. It's too hot. Where's the shade? I need to sit down.
I got a sunburn.
Well,
This fluorescent light gave me heat
that
stroke.
does it. Yeah, totally. If you need some Yapsy waffles on your whole grain falafels, then slide into our past casts and social medias at itsconspiracypodcast.com. And big shout out to the Irish Madman. We are sorry that we didn't get a chance to have the quartet all together, but we had a great time with you. Thanks for visiting.
Yeah,
and everybody else, talk to you soon. Have a great rest of your April. Take care.
See you in May.
See you never.
It's a conspiracy!